Hey everyone, and we're back with Victor from Programmatic Academy. Course 2, Lesson 2, we'll be covering branding strategy. Branding is one of those things that has never really been attributed or compared or associated with programmatic, but I think it's something that can absolutely be done, and in fact should be done. If you saw my previous lesson, you saw this slide, and essentially nothing changes whether we're doing performance or whether we're doing branding. We need three key things: objectives, KPIs, and commitment. Okay, what am I seeking to do from this campaign? If it's branding, probably awareness, reach, engagement, something along those lines. KPIs, how will we measure success for this campaign? And commitment. A lot of times, clients, or if you're in a brand, simply don't have the commitment to allow programmatic to work for you. A 1 day or a 1 week, and sometimes even a 1 month campaign is not enough to let you know whether something is working or not. As I mentioned previously, we've had campaigns where it took 6 to 7 months or longer, 8-10 months, to get to an ROI that was just awesome. But it takes patience, it takes time, and it takes testing. Obviously, hiring somebody that knows what they're doing as well. Here's an example of a brief, very similar to the performance one, except we changed a few things. Whether it's, even though it's branding, we still need to know what we're trying to achieve. So as we go through this one, and as you see, it's still the same product, the Ab Killer, which is an ab exercise equipment machine type thing that I invented. Basically got the idea from all these infomercials that are around, and as I've said, if you are interested in marketing and sales and conversion, you need to watch those guys, because those are the pros, and what they do, well, it may be cheesy, it works. Budget amount $25,000, flight dates few months. So what is our objective here? Awareness. How are we going to measure the success of this? Is by measuring at least 25% increase in search lift, meaning people searching for the brand name and see an increase of that figure with at least 25%. And secondary objective would be reach, and that you'd have to go into and look at different geolocations and countries and things like that. Like I mentioned, this is a super simple, brief template. You actually want a lot more information than this. I'll be posting a template with everything that we ideally would want on our site, so you can download and use that. This is just for presentation purposes. Okay, so if we look at the hierarchy or the structure of a branding campaign, or for a sample branding campaign, very simple. It's very similar to the performance one. Okay, at the top we have the advertiser, in this case Acme Products. Next we have the product, or this campaign, the Ab Killer. At the bottom we have the tactics. Tactic 1, which is prospecting. Whitelist means a select number of sites or specific sites that we want to advertise on and run on. Tactic 2, prospecting. Contextual means contextual channels. And tactic 3, audience segments, which is essentially third-party data that we will choose to target instead of retargeting like we did for performance. Okay, here's an overview of the benefits that each one affords us. So in prospecting, we're able to find new users, scale existing users. We can blacklist or we can whitelist different sites, and obviously gain insights because we run across so many different platforms, or excuse me, domains and pages. On the right hand side, we have audience segments, which again is essentially third-party data. We can reach a specific audience. We can target anonymously. We can target by interest or intent, and a lot of other factors. And we can target in the different stages of where that user may be in their funnel. One word about third-party data, in my experience from running many campaigns, you have to be cautious. You have to not put too much faith in it. Sometimes the data is dated and not really useful. For example, somebody searching to travel from New York to LA 60 days ago is not going to be relevant, 60 days from that time, or whenever the campaign is ready to launch. So you have to kind of take into account what data you're buying and what audience you think you're buying. A lot of the top level stuff is good, like general interest stuff and all that may work. Again, test. There's no way of knowing for sure. But in my experience, the very specific type of third-party data that is being sold is just not where it needs to be. All right, so the ad killer, our branding proposal sample here for this awesome machine. The strategy is to increase search lift using third-party data, contextual channels, by 25%. We want to increase search lift by 25%. What are the tactics? We're going to use video as the main channel or as the main format, and launch in contextually relevant campaigns, along with third-party data to find audiences that are interested in or have a high affinity to your product, drive search activity. That's a lot of agency speak for what we want to get done, which is basically increase search lift by 25% for our site and our brand, excuse me. All right, so if we look at the framework and overview, we have prospecting on the left and contextual. And why do I point out contextual so much? Because this was, if you saw my previous video, it's very similar. And I always use contextual within prospecting because it works. Simply put, there's no other option. There's no other reason. It works, and so that's what I want to reach out and tell you guys. This is a no BS type course, and so there you have it. So within contextual, we can choose the channels. We can choose branded terms, again, in generic terms if we want to. On the right hand side, third-party data, like I said, audiences. Be cautious. Top level stuff is okay, like maybe age, demographic, things like that. Test. If it doesn't work, cut it. Don't put too much faith in it. Again, if we dig down, it's almost the same exact thing as we did for performance. In contextual, we're targeting pages that have to deal with health, fitness, diet, exercise, food, beverage, healthy eating, then upload custom search terms. For example, whatever you're running in your search campaign, if you are, for a branding type thing, or a performance one. And then on the right hand side, the audiences. So this would be the third-party data that I said to be wary of. I always say, if you have enough budget, test. You never know, could work. So here we're targeting health and exercise equipment buyers, healthy eating lifestyle, and weight loss supplement type audiences. Again, contextual channels for prospecting are almost exactly the same as with display. except that we're using a video format in this case because it's a branding campaign. And as most of us know, video works very well for branding, top funnel type stuff, not very well for performance. In third-party data, just so you can have a picture, if you haven't seen it yet, of what you can select, we searched for exercise equipment, just to give you an example of what's out there. So we got Xlate, we got LiveRamp selling us some goods and some buyers of this type of product that we can target. I would say test across various data suppliers. My experience is that unless you're doing it in a country like US, UK, maybe Canada, and some others like Australia, third-party data, by and large, aside from those regions, is not very trustworthy at all. All right, and that's it for lesson 2, course 2 on branding strategy. Here are the quiz questions. What is a common branding metric? Explain what third-party data is. What is the difference between prospecting and display and video? What is an example of a third-party data company? If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below or reach out to me. I'm here to help. Thanks again for listening.